Hi, I'm Milla and welcome to another Milla's Game Room video. This one is going to be a top 10 RPG list in my personal opinion of games that I think deserve a 10 out of 10, whether it be because I love them to bits or they perfectly achieve what they set out to do basically. So yeah, this has been a trend on YouTube in RPG fans, so I'm joining the hype train while it's still chewing. So let's get straight into it. Number one is Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PlayStation 2 and since remastered for a bunch of other platforms. This is the second game in the Kingdom Hearts series, and back when I played this game, which was a very long time ago now, probably like several years at the very least, most likely longer than that actually. This game, it really blew me away. Like, obviously there were the opening hours of Roxas, which if you've not played the 358-2 you're not going to understand. But even then I still really liked it. The actual cast you play, Sora, Donald Goofy, going to the Disney worlds, I thought it was so cool. I loved interacting with the characters and going around and the simple hack and slash gameplay. I mean, it's not quite hack and slash, but it's action RPG. It's basically just you mash button, kind of like hack and slash. But I feel like it was really good. It was quite balanced and fair. The worlds were cool. I just think it's just so lovely, and I think there's such a great variety here. And this game is still quite influential. Like years on, like obviously the Kingdom Hearts series has gotten even bigger. There's now a fourth game, and Kingdom Hearts 3, which I have not played. Nope, still haven't played it. But will hopefully be just as good when I finally get around to it. And this one just kind of hit at the right time for me. Like, becoming a fan of RPGs, especially if you're a Westerner, often means playing something like Kingdom Hearts, where it combines West versus East. And this is basically what the series does, and it does it perfectly. Hence a 10 out of 10, especially for this game, which is, I believe many still consider it the best in the series. I haven't played most of the spin-off games as well as 3, so my jury position is out on that. Number 2 is a slightly more modern action RPG, and I think is probably to date the best game I've played from this developer, and it's VIII Lacrimosa of Dana. And this game is, well, this is a game that when it was localized, despite the issues that NISA did with the localization at first, this game really started to push Falcom into the mainstream RPG community a bit more. You're shipwrecked on this island, you go around and basically recover the castaways, and you basically fight to not only escape the island, but later go on to save the world. It's like amazing story, amazing characters. The gameplay is really cool. It's very simple as well, kind of similar to Kingdom Hearts 2 in that sense, but also arguably better, especially coming to that badass soundtrack. Got probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever played in a video game. Sunshine Coastline, which is still one of the best tracks in the entire series that Falcom's ever done as well. Like, that track is iconic and just, it's amazing. And Dana is a fan favourite character. I love Dana as well. And Adol as well, you know, like, this game is great. And I felt it really achieved what it set to do perfectly in that action RPG, you're shipwrecked, you're going out into the world, and just really touching story that was aimed to be like, kind of take elements from the Trail series, and I felt that this game perfected it in a ways that I don't think any other Falcon game player to date has done. And you know, this game has recently been released on the PlayStation 5 as well as being on previous generation consoles like PS4, Vita, Switch, and of course PC, so you owe it to yourself to check this one out as well. Third game on my 10 out of 10 list is Xenoblade Golden. So this game is, well, I've talked about this one a bunch of times, I made a long retrospective on it, so I won't go on it too much here, just go watch that video, please. Get all my thoughts on it in detail, but this game, it really hit the balance for me in terms of these really long Atlas time sinks. Like, great characters, there's really great juxtaposition between this, like, really light-hearted Scooby-Doo-esque mystery and some of the dark undertones that this game can have as well. By far the best cast of characters in any game Atlas has put out, despite some other social issues with it, which, yeah, again, go watch a retrospective, please. And the gameplay as well was great as well, really helped introduce like Atlas outside of the hardcore crowd as well, especially given this initial PlayStation Vita release. Did perfectly in expanding the world of Persona 4 and becoming a system seller for the Vita, which still a great handheld by the way. You know, check this game out, it's great. I think it's better than, well, any other Atlas game I've played to date, and yeah, but arguably better than Persona 5 as well, which not the most popular opinion, but you know. Check this game out as well, it's perfect in what it did. Now on to 2 more games that kind of have a similar thing. I'm going to start with the first one, rating Historia. This is a time travel mystery. You have to basically go through 2 time periods, continue one timeline by changing events in the other. It's really deep, really amazing story. It's fantastic. The characters are great. The art and music are amazing. And just, the gameplay is really good as well. And just such an amazing experience. I was hooked. And this is still like one of the best games that Atlas has made as well. Like, the characters as well. I thought they were all really cool, and just, you know, this sense of catching this old school feeling of traditional RPGs, and that very much is what Rent Historia tried to set out to do as well. I just felt it kind of hit it perfectly with having this just so amazing, and just how everything all comes together to produce this very satisfying experience that honestly hasn't really been topped in recent years. Like, there's got some great ideas, and I hope this gets a port to a modern platform someday, because it deserves it. And more people need to play this amazing game. Perfect, 10 out of 10. Second game on the time travel theme, which ironically kind of probably indirectly inspired Rent Historia, and that's Chrono Trigger. This is probably the oldest game on the list today, because this was originally an SNES game from like the 90s. And this game is truly timeless. Like, a lot of people, especially if you grew up in the 1990s, consider it the best RPG ever, which I'm not sure I'd agree best RPG ever, but wasn't born in that generation, but it's definitely amazing. Like, what it set out to achieve at the time, took Square and Enix, that were then separate companies, they came together to make this collab game. It was great. And the characters and the gameplay's really good. Like, it's not stereotypical or kind of like cliche. It's timeless. The grinding that you normally see in other RPGs is very minimal. The story's great. There's a lot of relatable themes even years on, and it's just so cool that you just have this world and these characters all come together from different time periods to save the entire world and their futures, and that is incredible. So, you know, this game is worth your time, even if you weren't alive when this game came out. Play this game, because it influenced so much that followed, and that's still why it's a perfect 10 out of 10. Number 6 on my list is going to be a roguelike RPG, and that's Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune, the Dice of Fate, which, yeah, roguelike RPGs, you probably know them if you played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, or Etrian Mystery Dungeon, or if you're a Dragon Quest fan that was born in the 90s, Torneko The Last Hope, or any other spin-off game from the series that got a Western release, or didn't, because many of them never did, including 2 games in this series, because this is basically Shiren Spike Chunsoft's own, like, their own roguelike series, and this game perfected the formula of going in these dungeons. It can be quite brutal at times because, again, it's a roguelike RPG, this stuff comes with territory, but this game just hit that balance between being fair and accessible and being punishing and brutal. Like, it hit that balance perfectly, and that's why it hits a 10 out of 10 for me. Other thing as well with this game is the sprite visual art style is beautiful, the music is great, I love the music, the characterization is really good as well, I love the characters as well. There's not much of a story here, but you don't need a story for a game like this. I do recommend this one. You can get it quite cheap on sales digitally, or if you're in Japan, you can pick up the physical version as English on it. It's a great game. This originally came on the Vita as well, so if you have a Vita or Steam, you fancy doing a deep dive, or playing the DS original, check it out. It's great. 10 out of 10. Number 7 on the list is going to probably be a slightly controversial pick, but there's a reason why I put this as a 10 out of 10, and that's Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies for the DS. This is actually the only Dragon Quest game to have not ever been fully remade yet, which will hopefully change in the next 5 to 10 years, hint hint Square Enix. But that aside, the reason why it's a 10 out of 10 for me, yes, this game does have its flaws, it's not the best game in the series objectively speaking, that honour belongs to many other titles, but this game did something very unique, and that was the online multiplayer. You can basically jump into in-game worlds of your players and continue the quest with them, help with bosses, go through dungeons, and do that kind of thing. And that is what really made this game a 10 out of 10, because it turned what was basically kind of a good RPG, it's definitely not a bad game, it was great, into an amazing one that you can truly experience with friends. And that's something that was like mainly limited to MMOs back then, but with this game it brought it into the single player realm, and that's why it gets 10 out of 10, because it did that perfectly. And I just remember as a kid with friends playing this game during lunchtimes at school and just being able to go into each other's dungeons, go into the grottos, which is like the post-game like content. You go down and defeat bosses, including bosses from the then 8 previous Dragon Quest games. This game was great, and I hope it gets a full remake, especially ported to PC as well, because we need the DLC quests from this preserved, and I would love, 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 love to play this again in the 2010s online with new people, friends I have now, because that would be so cool to relive this again. So, you know, remake it please, Square. 10 out of 10 as it is, so you know, not the first Dragon Quest game I'd recommend. Like, if you want to play another Dragon Quest game, there's better ones to start with, but this is still 10 out of 10 for the reasons I've said. Number 8 is going to be one of the other shorter-esque games on this list, but one that I feel is from a developer that needs representing, and that's Muramasa Rebirth. So Vanillaware are known for their really unique art styles in their games. It's all hand-drawn, and from a 10 out of 10 perspective, it really kind of hit that perspective in terms of the art. And this game has the art, it has the unique visuals, it also has amazing hack and slash gameplay. It's also got quite a short runtime, so this is a game you could beat in a week or two. It's that short a game, but it's not a bad thing. You go around this lovely, beautiful world. It's all set in like historical Japan with elements of fantasy and Oni and various other things. It's great. And you know, it's still got that charm, and there are calls to port the game to our platforms, and even in recent interviews, George Kamatani, who runs Vanillaware, was like, yeah, we want to, but there's issues holding it up and doesn't go into what they are, which is a shame that it's not being ported because it needs it. You can play this on the Wii and the Vita TV as well. I recommend getting it on the Vita TV because it's HD, plays better, with localization, and they're 10 out of 10 art as well. So yeah, masterpiece here for art and music and gameplay. Yeah, the music's good as well. True Japanese trip in terms of the oriental style and the amazing instrument choices in there. There aren't many other games like it in that sense. Number 9 is going to be the visual novel hybrid. Yep, I'm going to do one of those in this video. I wanted to make sure that I'm fair, so I've only limited to just one. Not spoiler for the last one, but I felt it was one that is often forgotten about in these 10 out of 10 lists, but is also, in Japan anyway, a pretty iconic series. And that is Sakura Wars So Long My Love on the Wii and PlayStation 2, or in Europe we only got the Wii version, which, fun fact, was ported by Idea Factory. Yep, that same Idea Factory. So this game, its unique combination, visual novel and RPG gameplay, but also fusing the historical 1920s setting of America with sci-fi. And it's such a unique combination, such great characters. I think it is really cool. It's like, most of it is aged pretty well. There's one character arc that hasn't aged well, which I'm going to talk about another time. But aside from that, it's great. Strategy RPG gameplay is really good as well. They haven't done strategy RPG in the reboot, which is action-oriented, so this is quite unique as well. It's really like one of these games, if you want to understand a lot of the history regarding localizing visual novels and text-heavy games in the West, this game is one worth looking into. And the game itself, it's fun, it's great, it's not too long, about 20 to 30 hours, so you can beat this in a few weeks. I recommend it. 10 out of 10 with all the context and everything. Just, you know, it's great, and I hope we get another game like this in the series someday, and especially localizations of the first 4 games, but fans are thankfully addressing that as well. And finally, for number 10, which I'm going to be under the 10 out of 10 magnum opus category, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So this only came out last year, not even a year old. Like, the DLC story, which I'm not counting here because I've not played it yet, is basically its own game in itself, so I'm only going to talk about the base Xenoblade 3 here, and this is a magnum opus because basically Monolith was like, yeah, let's take everything I've learned from the first 2 games, and the story, and the lore, and even the characters, and let's smash it all together into one world, one story, and fix all the flaws from the previous 2 games as well, and make it this, like, to quote the back of the box, epic world. And just, it was perfection. Like, it's just like, it was amazing going through this game and just experiencing it as a fan of the previous 2 games as well, and seeing all the references, seeing everything pile up, and just seeing how this really like fixed everything, and it's probably one of, if not the best games Monolith Soft has ever produced. And this is what it means when you are able to have the time and resources and support to craft your own story and craft your own world and really create a truly immersive RPG experience that people worldwide enjoy and love. And that's why it's a 10 out of 10, because it just hit it perfectly. And told the full story as well, alongside Future Redeemed, which, you know, that is really cool, and I can't wait to see where Monolith go next. So anyway, that's going to be it today for my little top 10 video. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your top 10 games as well, or just favourites in general, especially ones I've not talked about. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.